I helped ramp up the club and got it going. We're getting a message right now that we do record our meeting, so please accept that recording in order to keep going. And if you feel more comfortable, turn off your video. PR Masters is a club focused on PR. We welcome people of all skill levels, and we have a real passion for our home clubs and helping each other to grow and learn in our PR interests. Today, our theme is Set Up for Success, and I'm really excited for our two speakers, Maria Mendoza and Marcy Field. Adam pointed out earlier this week in Slack that both of our speakers tonight happen to be two of our international members. We have membership in 3 different countries now, I think 5 or 7 states. It's an exciting opportunity that pandemic has provided us to have more virtual clubs and the opportunity to have different kinds of specialty clubs. Was this going today? Is Elena in the room? I don't see Elena yet. Tracy, I'm going to ask you if you have any interest in being our general evaluator tonight. Really fun for us to get evaluated by a guest who's never been here before because it gives us input into how we're doing. Tracy, would you be comfortable taking on that role since I don't see Elena in the room yet?
Sure, I can do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Tracy, in your role as general evaluator, I want to let you know that we like to have high energy meetings that are engaging and we are interacting with our audience. So I would definitely like you to watch for that. But are there other things that you as a general evaluator like to watch for when you are evaluating a meeting?
I like to pay attention to, is the meeting ran smoothly? Is it on time? And does it end on time? And are we able to pass the ball smoothly and have a cooperation between all members?
Perfect. Tracy is an incoming VP of PR. I happen to know that she is our VPPR of our home club. Tracy, do you have one setup for success tip that you think is one that you're going to take into your first year as a VPPR?
I do not at this point. I am going to be open and curious and be a sponge in learning all that I can learn in the short amount of time before July 1st.
I think that's a great tip. Fantastic. Jill Bell is a brand new member to PR Master, and she is our timer tonight. Jill, would you explain your timer role and let us know why you joined PR Masters and maybe a tip for success that you've already learned?
Thanks, Maren. As you guys can tell, I do have my hand up that will pin it to the upper left-hand corner. Hopefully that stays for everybody. I also real quick did want to run through what you guys will be looking for. Again, the timer's role is going to be to time the different segments as they've been spelled out within the agenda tonight. And we do have the 2 speeches, which will be 5 to 7 minutes. So the green will be coming on at the 5 minutes, the yellow at the 6 minutes, and the red at the 7 minutes. The total time for the speech segments will be 12 minutes. And I will hopefully maybe after I stop from the initial timing segment, we'll put up the red again at the 12 minutes, just so you guys know that that's the 12-minute section. So any questions on that? Is that all coming up okay on everybody's end? All right, and a little bit more about the timing role. Again, gonna go through and be timing the 2 prepared speeches tonight, and we'll be giving a timer's report at the end. I will also be covering the timing for the Dear PR Masters segment, which will be 10 minutes in total length. So again, the green at the 10, I'm assuming the green at the 10, the yellow I guess I better ask the question. The green at the 10, the yellow at 10.5. Is that kind of what you guys are doing on the PR Master segment?
I would say 8, 9, and 10, Jill.
8, 9, and 10. Thank you for that clarification. So you will see green at 8, you will see yellow at 9, and you will see red at 10. Thank you for that, Fred. And again, I am a new PR Masters member. My home group is the Corvallis Evening Group, Club 395 down here in Corvallis, Oregon. I'm about a month with PR Masters, and this is my 3rd meeting attending. Excited to be here. I've been picking up little bits of tidbits at each of the meetings that I've been taking away. I've been jotting down notes during the meetings and just been excited about the enthusiasm from this group and learning from a group of people that are experienced in the PR field as I've been picking up tidbits for various work that I do with some nonprofit groups for PR.
Thank you, Jill. Excellent introduction to the timer role. And now I am going to introduce a unique role to PR Masters, which we call the group feedback leader. This person helps us with feedback other than a traditional evaluator. Tonight, that person is Carissa Yang, who also happens to be our secretary. Carissa, tell us how you are operating the group feedback leader position tonight.
Hello, everybody. Tonight, I think I will just use the Zoom chat feature. I will just ask folks to join in and use the chat to give their thoughts and impressions after the speaker. Yeah.
And if you had one tip to send everyone off with tonight, what would it be in the PR world? A tip for success.
Yeah. One tip for success. Don't try to do too many things because there are too many things. Pick something that you want to learn that intrigues you and focus on that one thing at a time. Then move on to the next when you're ready.
I can't agree more. I think about the VPPRs that are headed to VPPR training for TLI this weekend, and I know how overwhelming that training can be. And really honing in on something you want to learn or an area of that brand packet instead of the whole thing can help it be less overwhelming. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Bob. And Bob is evaluating Maria today. Bob, would you let us know what you're going to be evaluating Maria on?
Absolutely. I'd be delighted to do that. Maria is fairly new to the club, as am I, and fairly new Toastmaster, I understand. This is the second speech in level 1 is called an evaluation and feedback speech. And she's given you give it twice. And the object is to get evaluated on it a second time, to take the feedback from the first speech and apply it to the second speech. So today, she's going to be applying the feedback she got to the speech that she gave previously. And so I'm going to be looking to see if how well she fulfilled that objective.
Thank you, Bob. I'm excited for Maria's speech too. And this is a perfect example of a Toastmaster practicing their craft. Maria has given this speech once before in a different meeting, and it was fantastic. Yet at the end, she goes, wait a sec, I didn't share my slides. And the thing was, it was so good that we didn't notice. We didn't know. So I'm excited tonight to see Maria's slides related to following up. The gold is in the follow-up, Maria Mendoza. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Maren. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for the great introduction. Now you're making me nervous more. All right, so goals, success with the personal, oh, sorry, that again, sharing my screen. Hope you can see my screen now. Amazing. Okay. Again, what does success mean to you? You can write in the chat if you want to answer that question. But success has, for me, success has a lot of meanings. So it depends on the individual how you would define success. But for me, success is more on little things that you do in life. When you reach an aim or a goal, that is called success for me already. So it can be success, happiness with life and personal life or your career life. So that depends with you. So I would love to see some chat answer there. What does success mean to you? And I'll go read about it in a bit. So please, Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening and good morning from the other side. I have a favorite quote. Do what you do so well that they will want to see you again and bring their friends. This is a quote that would relate to our topic tonight, wherein the goal, success with a personal touch. Do what you do so well. And what makes guests come back and members stay? Another relation, this is what would identify another success when a guest comes back to any meeting and a member stays and remain in the organization or the club that we are in. So guests, fellow Toastmasters, what do you think guests and members want to see and feel again when they come back or when they are in our club? Yes, it is one. It's the amazing experience. The amazing experience that we all provide during the club meeting. And what makes an amazing experience? I have three tools or points for that. One is the welcome feeling. What the welcome feeling where in the club, like when I first joined PR Masters, I felt so welcome by everyone. And the follow-up that Maren did during after that meeting was really amazing when she checked on how I felt about the club and the experience. So that's one personal touch that's very important. Second is that the engaged and involved. Once you're engaged and involved in the club, the feeling is really amazing, wherein you get involved like you've been in the club for a long time. Like Bob said, I'm just new, but I already felt I've been in the club for so long. And the third one, and the most important one, is the gold. And what is the gold actually? That gold is the personal touch. So gold success with a personal touch. How can we do that? So how can we sprinkle more of personal touch? And here is how. One would be the very main thing for me, as for my opinion, is the thank you word that we receive. So like in every meeting, here is just sample of thank you cards that we did in my home club. And you will see it's just simple, like thank you for attending our meeting. And then we just have like what's the theme? The champion's mindset. And we do put in a little quotation there from our president or the speaker. And you will see what it made our audience or our guest feel from this personal message. This is so kind of your club. I love it. So it really gives a special feeling for the guests and the members whenever we send this. Another sample, thank you card for guest role players. And there's another wonderful message. Well, thank you very much. So simple 2 words means a lot of things and goes a long way. And another one, and this is what I really love, after my first speech, there are confirmed 3 people who made use of what they got from my first speech. And I'm really appreciative of what they did. And it means a lot to me because it's like I inspired someone to do something that I am already doing. So this is a sample of Maren created a thank you card for all the members who renewed, and that I haven't done renewal. So that's Maren's original. And then another thank you post from Adam when he posted as well and thanked me for creating the graphics of the thank you card for the renewal of the member. So it means a lot. And what other thing aside from the thank you card is we can also do post meeting posters, wherein we acknowledge everyone who attended, the speakers and the role players. And then a congratulations to winner post, because in our club we do this best speaker, those topic masters. So we post it and do an acknowledgement for them, wherein all the winners did their best effort to win. And another e-card, a new member welcome e-card. This is one thing where we can make new members feel welcomed already. And going forward, and this is one of my favorite again, birthday e-cards. It is more on not because if they are members of your club, but they mean something to you. That's why you've provided this kind of birthday e-card and make their day special, extra special. And celebrate milestones as well. So we can do different posts when somebody has finished their level, or somebody like now we have new group of officers, we announce them as well. And just recently, one of our club member joined the division, and she won as the finalist for the DTAC 2020. And also holiday e-cards and holiday post. And last, initiative to create always holiday post and thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely day.
Very nice, Maria. I would like to take a minute and encourage people to use the chat to just enter a sentence or a word or 3 words on your impressions. How did this make you feel? What did you get out of this speech from Maria? And I encourage you to share this openly. Just whatever you honestly feel. Nice slides, heartfelt, loved it, golden. So many ways to say thinking of you with PR. Very informative. Lots of excellent ways to keep members informed and interested. Wow, guest engagement. Thank you in the chat. Excellent show and tell. Bravo, Maria. Feel free to keep it going, but I will pass it back to Maren to keep the meeting moving along. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Carissa. Thank you, Maria. And what value did I get from also seeing the slides, Maria? You did a fantastic job. And I think the tip I would share that I have in PR Masters is a file of headshots of all of our members. So if someone hasn't refreshed their photograph, I have one that I can grab from that file and turn it into a post, and it's been approved because they submitted it when they became a member. So that would be one of my PR tips to help you all in your creation of these fantastic posts that Maria has as examples. Next up, I am going to introduce Jennifer Schmidt, who will be evaluating Marcy Field today. Jennifer, what are you looking for from Marcy's presentation?
Thank you, Maren. What I'm looking for today from Marcy's presentation is she's going to be doing, she wants feedback on structure and flow. Is there a call to action for her social networking speech, no strings attached? So I'm looking forward to seeing how the call of action comes out at the end and her structure and flow, and look forward to hearing it. Back to you, Maren.
Thank you, Jennifer. Networking is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. engenders a lot of fear for so many people. I'm excited to hear Marcy's presentation tonight. And the other thing that I really value at PR Masters is the networking that we have. We have learned so much from having members and guests from different places. It makes us recognize our own bias toward the Pacific Northwest, where we live in the United States. And we talk about rain all the time, and we realize it's not very relatable to everyone in our meetings. A lot of fun to meet this range of people, to learn how to work virtually across time zones, to figure out what platforms coordinate well for everyone. Marcy's here to talk to us about networking. We're going to talk about no strings attached, social networking. Marcy Fields. Uh-oh, you're on mute and you're shouting.
Do you feel tied up in knots when someone tells you there's a networking event that you have to attend? Or do you get excited because you're going to be out there and shining like a star and meeting new people? I feel a bit of both at times. I get excited, but all those strings, I'm not quite as sure where I'm going to be. Well, today I want to talk with you about a couple of things. First, the importance of a network. What is it? And then some of the advantages that we have in having strong networks. Let's begin with a short definition. Networking is about establishing, building, and nurturing long-term, mutually beneficial relationships. Do you have those? I like what Maren just shared with us, that was part of it for everyone, that we could see what was happening and how it's broadened our network. Some of the advantages of networking include private information. There is a lot available to us in the public realm, but when we've got a good network, we have access to people's private information, perhaps from their organization, insights that they might have that we don't. We also have access to diverse skill sets. Jill mentioned at the beginning of this meeting that she's been taking notes and picking up all kinds of little tips from the members of our club. The other thing is that we have great power when it comes to our networks. When we build a strong network, it powers us, it empowers us, and takes us to new places. Recently, I completed my distinguished Toastmaster requirements and wrote an article for my district, which was published as a blog post. I took that post and I shared it to thank the people that had helped me along the way, because getting or becoming a DTM is not a solitary task. It is accomplished with a little help from our friends, or in my case, a lot of help from my friends, especially as you organize and build teams and work on various projects, both at a club and at district levels. It was fascinating to me to see the statistics that came back on this and to see the post. I posted it about a month ago, And as you can see, I've had on LinkedIn, and I've had 1,333 views of my post on my LinkedIn feed in the news feed. Of that, the organizations, there were a lot of organizations. What was interesting to me is that 16 of those were from the company that is sponsors my club, Floor Corporation. And then there were various other organizations. And when I go to analyze my network, I'm able to see what is available there. But what is important to me as a contractor and as somebody who is my own business operator is to look at these analytics and see the people that are involved and the kind of titles that they have. There were 43 people who are project managers that stood out to me, and then 28 people who were executive directors and 28 who were business strategists. If I go back in with my account and observe these people, I'm then able to discover who I'm able to make connections with and move forward in a better way. The other thing that was very fascinating and the strength of my network was the ability to see people that were the organizations where the people were located. The fact that the majority of the people were located in Alberta, in Calgary, where I was, and the majority of them were in Canada was fascinating and makes sense because that's where I've built up my career and where my relationships are the strongest. However, fascinating to me also were the number of people that saw the posts that were out of the Oregon, and also then the number of people that I were involved with looking at me from India, and I've had the opportunity to interact with clubs there. There is a strength to our clubs and in making that information available to each other. The stronger our network, 70% of people have the ability to move forward because of their network. If you're beginning your career, if you're moving in mid-career, or perhaps even ending your career and thinking of transitioning into something new, the strength of your network, the diversity of your network will help you transition to the next place. Dr. Smedley said you're not a real member of a group until you take your part in a conversation. Those conversations are very important. Therefore, a quick reminder, networks are Networks are important because they provide and give us access to private information. They give us access to a diverse skill set when we see that and go back and look at our analytics. And they have the power, and they power our careers and help us to move forward. I'd like to remind you that you cannot be a secret and a success at the same time. I invite you to enlarge and strengthen your network on LinkedIn, and I welcome you to connect with me on LinkedIn, and let's see how we can help each other. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marcy. Carissa, as group feedback leader, this section is yours.
Thank you, Maren. Again, I would love to invite everybody to drop their feedback in the chat window. Please do so openly if you would, to share with Marcy and the rest of us how you felt. What did you get out of the speech? What did you learn? What did you love? Do you have any suggestions? Super enthusiastic, excellent information. Nice call to action. Somebody wants to know how you made that presentation. Did you use PowerPoint, Marcy? Curious how you made your slide transitions. Love to push to get out and try something new. Love the idea of the power of networks. Yes. Wonderful story on LinkedIn. Love your presentation animation. Great information and strategies to implement networking. Great voice. Conversations are important. Again, great information. Power of networking. I think your message came through so well, Marcy. Thank you so much. Handing it back to Maren. Still welcome more comments if you feel you have more. Thank you.
Thank you, Carissa, and thank you, Marcy. And I think you pointed out, or one of our guests pointed out, one of those things that I'm always astounded by, the range of technology being used that I may not have the bandwidth to do right now, but I love seeing it and thinking, maybe that'll be something I'll try in the future, and I'll have someone to ask questions of. Bill, we do the timer roll slightly differently. This is your opportunity to update us on how our speakers did with their time.
Of course, thank you. We started out with the first speech from Maria. And Maria, your time was 7 minutes and 24 seconds. So you were within that extra 30-minute or 30-second time scope. So within time, well done on keeping within time, and you ended right in there. The overall segment, I missed the exact starting of it, but it was just under 10 minutes for the overall total segment. Going down to Marcy's presentation that we just heard on networking. Marcy, you were at 7 minutes and 58 seconds. So a little bit outside the scope of the allowable 7 minutes and 30 seconds. The total segment was right at 12 minutes, just a hair over 12 minutes. So again, within the scope of that segment also. And with that, I do want to make the clarifying comment that I will also be covering the timing on the table topic segment of 1 to 2 minutes per table topic speech. So again, the green at the 1, the yellow at the minute 30, and the red at the 2. And with that, back to you, Maren.
Fantastic. And I love that someone backed you up in the chat to help you understand the timing on those. That's what I love about Toastmasters, is you learn those gracious transitions and those gracious ways to help each other during meetings. It is now our opportunity to talk about club business, and it's my pleasure to introduce our president, Matthew Douglas, who will be continuing as our president this next year. Matthew stepped into the role mid-year, and I'm excited to see him in this role for an entire new Toastmasters year. Matthew, I think we have a lot of things on the docket today as announcements. Over to you.
We do. I've backed myself up in the chat, so you can click on the links as desired. The first announcement is that they're at least in District 7, and you don't have to be in District 7 to join. You can just pop in if you're interested. But District 7 is hosting its Toastmaster Leadership Institute, and that is Friday evening and Saturday morning. This coming Friday evening and Saturday morning. You can learn more about the event. There are over 30 speakers who are going to be sharing their ideas. There are a whole host of volunteers that are helping facilitate the Zoom and all the breakouts. There is a marvelous featured speaker who's going to be joining us to give a keynote. So there's all kinds of things, whether you're interested in learning about roles, which all of our officers will be going to learn about roles, but you can certainly go and learn about a role as well. And there are also all kinds of elective opportunities to learn about different parts of speechcraft, which I'm looking forward to as well. So I put in the link for D7 Toastmasters. It's right in the main scroll, or you can also check out the calendar. You can see the program, or if you're interested in registering, I also threw that link in as well. You can go straight to that site. It's an Eventbrite, and with a couple of clicks and a little bit of typing, you're in and ready to go. The second thing that I wanted to share is these meetings happen because of us, because of you. So it's not too early to think about July's meeting. I would encourage you to sign up for July's meeting. That way it'll be on your calendar and you can join us. Either that, or we also have a planning meeting that happens mid-month where the board gets together, but we also talk about what's going to be happening in July and August. So we encourage any of you who are interested to come join us. We'd love to hear your ideas and your input about what we want to talk about in PR Masters. And then the final link that I tossed in there is our Easy Speak. So we rely on our members to go in and to sign up for roles. It is much easier to be a Toastmaster if you have lots of people who have volunteered for the many wonderful roles that we have that make these meetings go. So click on the link, sign up. We're excited to have you. With that, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, who I think is going to be introducing table topics.
Thank you, Matthew. Yes, I will be introducing table topics. Do it a little differently here. So if anyone is unfamiliar with reactions, it can be really helpful to know how to raise your hand during our table topics. So if you'd like to practice for a moment, I do see that Juanita is coming into our meeting as well as Cheryl, so fantastic. A little reminder to drop the agenda in the chat for them because they won't see any of the previous chats. Unfortunately, that happens in Zoom. All right, I'm going to lower my hand here for table topics. Table topics today will be with Bill Mayer, and Bill will invite the audience to answer impromptu questions. Bill, you have 12 minutes for this segment, but I am watching the clock to if you have any concerns about timing. And over to you, Bill.
Well, thank you very much, Mar, and it's good to be here, and it's good to be doing table topics. Table topics to me in Toastmasters is one of our little jewels, our gems that really make Toastmasters worthwhile. I don't know how many times I've been asked a question impromptu at my place of work, and I have to sound reasonably intelligent. I work at a high school, and you never know when an administrator is going to pop in. You never know when a student is going to ask a really good question. And I got to be at least able to look like I know what I'm talking about. And so if for nothing else, this is a great place to do that. One of the reasons I like doing this at my home club, the New Horizons Toastmasters Club, is because it's a great place to kind of mess up, take the chance, see what happens, dive in, and we will all be there to support and help and redirect and evaluate, which is pretty awesome. Now, Jill, you had mentioned that the table topics are going to be 1 to 2 minutes, which is very typical. We have a lot of people here tonight. And so if you want to finish up at around the 1 minute mark, 1:15, that's okay by me because, I think we kind of have a lot to share with the group because this is a very special club and we have people from around the world. So let's share our wealth of information with each other and experience with that. I would like some sort of indication that we're at about the 6 minute mark, about halfway through. So I don't know if you're kind of waving your hands or, I don't know, showing your dog, whatever it might be, that would be awesome. Okay, great. So the topic for today is setting up for success. We had a couple of really great prepared speeches, and I have a host of questions to do that. And I wrote down people's names, and we typically call on people. But I think this time around, I want to do it a little differently. I'm going to say the prompt. And if you're interested in taking a chance at answering the prompt, go ahead and raise your hand. And if nobody will volunteer within 5 seconds, and it's typically a really bad idea that I don't like to do that, then I'm going to call on somebody. But you got 5 seconds to jump in and answer the prompt, and then I'm just going to call on somebody. So the first prompt is, what would be one personal touch from you personally that you bring to support success in your club? What's one personal touch that you bring to your club? Jennifer Schmidt. I wasn't going to call on you, but you raised your hand, so go for it.
Gratitude, having gratitude for the people that help you and telling them that you're grateful and you appreciate their skills and you appreciate their time and you appreciate their energy. So having a healthy dose of gratitude.
Okay, thank you very much. I heard many years ago that gratitude is the best attitude. So thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate that. Our next prompt is, what has your club done that you found to be successful? What has your club done that you have found to be successful? Okay, Denise Singh, I'm going to see if you would like to participate and answer that question this evening. Make sure you unmute yourself first.
Well, thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and guests. What is our club done? Well, I actually belong to two clubs. I mentioned that in the chat. Peninsula Toastmasters has been around for 43 years. Yeah, 43 years. And so I think we've been very consistent in achieving President's Distinguished for many of those years. And so I think we've been very successful in bringing in new members and getting them to step up into leadership and things like that, and of course progress in the speaking, both areas, the speaking and the leadership areas. So I think we've been very successful in doing that. And then same with my other club. It's a Tamil English club. I know like about this much Tamil I'm learning, but anyway, and we're doing the same thing. It's a brand new club, just started last year. So getting members and trying to get them to be successful in the both ends, success, the speaking and the leadership, both ends of the category. So thank you.
And thank you. That was really wonderful. Being involved in more than one Toastmasters club really does help us understand how to reach success through Toastmasters in various ways. So I really appreciate those insights. I'm decided I'm going to call on people. So Ashley Harkness, would you be willing to participate this evening?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Great. Sometimes success happens by accident, or we think something might work, but we probably, we're not sure. But then it turns out to be something that ended up being pretty cool. Do you have an example of accidental success?
Absolutely. I'm in several clubs down here in District 57. And one of the successes that turned out to be an accident was my visiting other clubs and telling them about the other clubs that I'm visiting and what they do. And they go, that's an interesting idea. Maybe we might try that. And it's more like spreading the pollen around. They kind of get the idea exchange. So I'm encouraging the area directors to not only visit their clubs, but visit all of their clubs and say, hey, those guys over in this club, they're doing that. Would that help you guys? So that's what I think might be helpful.
That's wonderful. I just have one follow-up question. Was there anything specific among visiting all of these clubs that you found was a really good, successful idea that you hadn't known before?
Actually, it was an idea that I brought. Somebody asked me, what is it in my club that we do that is unique? And I said, we have a regular training program on how to be a speaker. And we use the Toastmaster training materials, all of them. Same thing with, all those things. We haven't given up on those and use it as an augment for pathways. And they all went, something to be learned.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Patty, would you be willing to participate this evening? Yes. Okay, great. What would you say is one habit that supports success?
funny that you asked that because I have a business called Habit Masters. So, so one habit that supports success is being in the habit of thinking about your success and what it takes to be successful. So looking at your goals on a regular, habitual basis so that you don't forget them. You keep them in mind and you keep them top priority. I will also just say that as a mentor to a club, I ask the new club, do you know what your members' goals are? Do you know why they're there and what they hope to do? And I encourage them to do a progression because we always want to get better. And sometimes we're looking at not that we're not perfect yet and will never be perfect, but we fail to look at where we've been. So being present to where you're going and where you've come from is a great habit to be in. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you for those insights. That's awesome. Yes. Alan Zong, would you be willing to participate this evening? Thumbs up. I love that. Great. One of the things that can generate success, and again, in sort of an unknowing way, is what we call serendipity. When things just kind of happen and they gel together to create this result of success. Do you think there's a way to help that happen in a club?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I love the word serenity. I trust it. I think if we are treating everyone like your family, if you want your family member to be successful, treat them as your beloved, your kids, your parents, any of your family members, you treat them with heart-filling actions. Like, I love the idea for you to say thank you to your visitors. I love the idea that gratitude is the best attitude. Keep spreading those poems, which are from what I just read from the chat, to your family members and treat everyone as a family members. That is the best practice for you to spread your love to everyone around you. And the more successful people around you, that means that you are the better leader. That is the leadership 101 I read. Same thing as what happens to NBA finals. Stephen Curry, right? It doesn't matter that if he is winning the MVP of the finals, but he helped the team to be successful. I think we know everything from our everyday life, from what you're interested in, whether it is your studies, your work, you're interested, try to develop that love relationship with everything and treat your family as your family member. Everyone here know each other well after the meeting. And congratulations, we are all here. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much. Well said. Really enjoyed that. Vivian, would you be willing to participate this evening?
I love the way you volunteered me. I think I have a choice between yes and yes, yes, yes. So yes, yes, yes.
All right. Appreciate that. I apologize for the siren in the background. I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball because one of the things that we need to think about when we're thinking about success and setting up success is what areas are needed to be more successful. How do you identify an area where a club really needs some extra help and a little bit of how you might make that area more successful?
Oh my gosh, I love you to the moon and back. I say this every day in every way, and I'm just all over the planet. Let's see if you can see this on the screen. You see that? I'm a talk show host. and it says show and tell. So I'll go back to the bigger picture. Why are the people in Toastmasters with a title like public relations so private? They don't want to talk. They say, I'm just talking from my experience, right? They say, just email me. I'm like, hello, I'm here. I'm in the chat box and I'm trying to tell you, when may I call you? I actually got an answer from one. Love it. She says, I don't like talking. I wanted to say, public relations, right? My answer to you is the elephant in the room, and my age is showing. I'm 70, and during our era, prehistoric times, we had to actually see each other, have coffee, laugh together, and cry together. I miss those days. They say we're so connected with technology. We are so isolated. I cannot feel the laughter, the vibration. You know what it's like, right? To be silly and laughing your heads off. At least we can do it on Zoom via phone, WhatsApp, Viber. Please, 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 pretty please. That's what I'm talking about. Public relations, I love everything you said, but let's show and tell and talk and laugh. Try together. Very simply put, I'm oral auditory. Those online are visual. I can give you a talk on that. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. I give that to many clubs. Call me, I'm here. Lots of love, mwah, 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 and kisses too.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes. And for many, many people, I'm not too far behind you. I know we're at 12 minutes. I just want to say one more things here. But it almost seems like before COVID, and that's, oh yeah, we used to get together. And recently I've had an opportunity to get together with friends and laugh till we cry. Marin, 2 more? Is that what, or are you saying peace? Oh, 2 more. Oh, how awesome is that? We kind of love that. Great. Let's see, Juanita, would you be willing to participate this evening?
The answer is always yes in Toastmasters.
How wonderful. Love that. If you had to motivate members to be part of a strategy the club has adopted for success, how would you go about motivating somewhat reluctant members of your club?
I'm sorry, did you say some reluctant members?
Yes, somewhat reluctant, not completely.
Okay. How many of you, and this is not a rhetorical question, but how many of you have heard about Top Gun Maverick? Anybody heard about that movie? How many of you have had friends or you yourself have been and have had a recommendation to go see it? Anybody? Okay. Well, that's what we should be doing, is telling other people how fabulous Toastmasters is and the benefits of Toastmasters and what we can gain from it, as well as what we can share with other people to encourage other people to be more confident and comfortable speakers. We have something special, even though we're still working on it, as many of my peers would agree. It's not a done deal that you come and it's, you take it for 10 weeks or 12 weeks and you achieve it and you're on your own. It's a progression, and some of us are still continually learning. And once you kind of make a little progress towards getting a little bit better and more comfortable, then that's a perfect opportunity for you to mentor someone else and help lift them up and help encourage them. Toastmasters is a wonderful program that we should be just really sharing with people how awesome it is. And you really got to go to see what it's like yourself and to feel the benefits.
Okay, thank you very much. I love your energy there. I want to go to Toastmasters. Take me. Where do I go? I love it. That's so, so true. Sometimes I feel like Toastmasters might be a support group for introverts, but not always. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's see. We have time for one more. Greg Athos, would you be willing to participate today?
My last name is Athos. Yes, go ahead.
Athos, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. This is PR Toastmasters, and we know that PR is an important part of any club's success. Can you name up to 3 characteristics of effective PR for a Toastmasters club?
3 of effective characteristics. Okay, 1 would be to be persistent, and you can be persistent by having consistency. In other words, let's say you invite several folks to your meeting. You want to have all the elements that are required. You want to have an agenda. You want to have a link for the Zoom. And then also you want to have a phone number that you can call, and then the meeting ID. And then also another method would be repetition. And that is sending that information a few days before the meeting, and then sending by email it maybe the day before. And then a third thing would be to have a calendar invite for those who are going to be invited to the meeting. For example, tonight, I probably would have forgotten the meeting if I didn't get the calendar text message that you get when you get a calendar invite. So yes, you must be out there, and to quote an earlier speaker, you cannot be successful if you are a secret. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Table Topics.
Thank you, Mr. Athos. Really appreciate that. This has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed the responses that all of us have shared, and I'm sure many of us have generated some more thoughts in our mind. And if you've got some things you'd like to share, put them in the chat. It's a great way to make sure that everyone gets to learn from everyone else. Maureen,
Thank
back to
you.
our Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Bill. And I don't normally do like all that chatting, but one thing that I think is a nice takeaway sometimes is saving the chat at the end of the meeting. So you can walk away with all of these tips and take it to the next step. Had a lovely little reminder in the chat that, hey, we need to do our follow-up photograph, and why don't we do it midway? Well, why not? Because sometimes people drop off at the end of the meeting. They've got things to do. So, Marcy, do you have any suggestions for an expression today, a hand gesture? What do you think we should do?
I'm open to someone else having a suggestion.
Okay.
Any ideas?
Matthew's looking quizzical, like, tips.
I was going for coy.
Like, what are you going for?
Coy.
Coy. Okay, do your best version of coy, everyone. I'm like, Okay, I have to make sure I can do my facial expression in this at the same time. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you very much. And if you haven't followed us on LinkedIn or joined our Facebook group, that is where you'll see this image, one of our next postings. Our next segment is a bit like Dear Abby, but it's Dear Abby for PR. So Dear PR Masters. Leading today's segment is Fred Bergeron, our member from Florida, the East Coast of the United States. Fred, what is your Dear Abby tale today?
My Dear Abby tales, I've got 6 of them, deal with a lot of things in our club that some people may struggle with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on at least one of our members first. And if one of our guests would like to join, feel free to do that. So my first person I would like to call on would be Cheryl. Are you up for your question? Cheryl, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6?
Yes. Hi.
What number would you like?
Yeah, let's go. 3 is the magic number. Let's go with 3.
Number 3. Okay. Dear PR Masters, I'm the president of our club and introduced Canva to our VPPR, but she's not very tech savvy and just wants to stick to the basics. Signed, Beyond Basics.
To clarify, is there a question with that?
In
What
other
do we
words,
do with that?
how would you try to
What would be the
approach
response?
VPPR with her saying that?
Yeah. There is a saying, well, this reminds me of a book that I read, and the title escapes me, but I cannot forget the analogy of getting everyone on the bus in the right seat was the gist of it. And it's making sure that people are operating within their wheelhouse and their strengths. Now, that doesn't mean there's any lack of opportunity for learning new things. And so I would recommend starting with some basics. Sometimes anything tech can just be overwhelming. I myself had to go through many tutorials with Canva. And this particular example is perfect because I had no idea what to do with it. But the internet these days is a wealth of information, and there's no shortage of videos that you can teach yourself. I wish I could earn a degree. I would have had 5 times over by now with all the videos that I've watched. If I could get some sort of credit for that, it would be amazing. So I would recommend starting with some of the Canva tutorials and they're short, 2 minutes, some of them, very short, very, very manageable, bite-sized pieces. And misery always loves company, am I right? So I would watch them together. Get some popcorn if you need to. Make it fun and explore it together. And the key thing is to remember that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to start simple and move slowly. And it's okay to learn a few more tricks when it comes to technology. Don't be afraid of it. Somewhere behind every technical thing you're seeing is a real life human being. And that maybe would make it a little bit more approachable. Those things don't come out of nowhere. Somebody had to punch in the algorithms or the coding or whatever happened to it. And they had you in mind when they did that. So maybe make it a little bit more personal. That might disarm the fear that might be present, and go at it together. Back to you.
Fred, you're muted at the moment.
Sorry, thank you. Debbie, would you like to try the next question?
Yes, sure. Thank you for asking.
Would you like 1, 2, 4, 5, or 6?
Oh my God, that's okay. 6.
6. Okay, your question is, dear PR Masters, our VPPR is not the greatest photographer and tends to post bad photos on our Facebook page, such as being blurry, members with eyes closed, or terrible exposure. Should I say something to him or just let him continue taking photos and posting? Signed, Camera Critiquer.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you for the questions. Some people feel disheartened when they receive criticism. What I will do is I will create some event and invite like storytelling. And we do storytelling by picture, storytelling visual, storytelling in media. I will organize that for all my officers so that they can have a look of what a good example of social media posts. Like today, I have to say, I actually learned a lot from the sharing today. And I will invite them to look at and attend this sharing, and hopefully it will inspire them. If it hasn't changed, then I probably will say something, and I suggest, look, what do you think if we have picture from this angle? What do you think? So I will enter kind of like coaching conversations to draw their awareness of what good picture is and what pictures that invite people to come and enjoy and feel appreciated through this picture. Thank you very much for the questions. I hope that answered.
Thank you, Devi. What about you, Elena? Are you ready for a question?
Sure.
Okay. 1, 2, 4, or 5?
Well, let's do 5.
Okay, number 5. Someone suggested paying for search engine optimization for our website to generate more traffic, but we are limited in funds and feel that it is too much of a gamble to try to optimize our free Toast Host site. Signed, SEO Sadness, and what would you suggest?
Well, dear Sadness, what can I suggest to you? You know, a lot of districts have incentives that you can meet and thus raise money for the PR needs. If your club is lacking of some of the funds, but would like to invest in the search engine optimization, there are a couple of ways to raise the funds. For example, you can organize a Speechcraft event, which is a service to the community. You can bring in speech crafters and you can charge them a little basic charge for materials, maybe $5–10, and $5 to cover materials, plus another $5 for just organizing the Speechcraft. And that would kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It will create the exposure for your club. You will give the service to the community, and you will get a little bit of funds towards your new PR endeavor. So that will come around the full circle. I would say have fun, organize more events, and raise funds, and don't make it to be an obstacle. That's you.
Thank you, Elena. Janet, would you like to try a question?
May I pass because it's getting very late for me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
How about one of our own? How about Matthew?
Sure.
1, 2, 3, or 4?
Give me 2.
Okay, question 2. Dear PR Masters, I'm the Vice President of Education for our club, but I find myself taking photos of our club meetings and posting them online when our VPPR is usually present at all our meetings. What should I do? Signed, Facebook Photo Taker.
Your audio cut out for me, I think, on a critical word there. You say that again one time?
You want me to repeat it?
Yeah, would you?
Okay. I'm the VP of Education of our current club, and I find myself taking all the photos of our club when our VPPR is usually the one present at all our meetings as well. What should I do, or what would you recommend? And this is our last question.
All right. Dear Education, I think that the more the merrier. So if you're going to take photos, take photos. If you want to double team it and have your VPPR also take photos, have her take photos too. If you want your president to take photos, have your president take photos too. There isn't such a thing as too many photos, especially as clubs are online it's really the one thing that humanizes us. Chances are very good that some of you, most of you, all of you saw some of the fantastic PR that the marvelous Mara and Ziva did for us for this particular meeting. She had posts on LinkedIn. She had posts on Facebook. We had augmented posts from other folks like Marcy that were talking about people in our club. And the common theme among all of these was human faces. And one of the things that we have learned as PR masters is that posts that have human faces, that have people you know, get more attention. They get more views, they get more interaction. So if you have a personal issue where you just want to get somebody else involved, I would say talk to them. But when it comes to imagery, more is more.
Thank you, Matthew. And I guess I'll turn things over back to Maren, who will call on some of our functionary reports. Back to you, Maren.
Thank you, Fred. Excellent session and reminders of tips to help and coach people in different PR concerns. And we're here to grow, right? And I love the comment earlier about progression. And I think multiple people have mentioned start one place, you keep building, and keeping track of your successes, both in Toastmasters, but also out in other aspects of your life, can really help maintain the I have grown, there is positive movement. When you're in that little frustrated mode and can't figure out why the background remover isn't working in Canva, right? And then you go to that 2-minute video and figure out what's going on with the background remover. Solvable problem. It has been an excellent meeting, and we're in our evaluation phase. Our first, I forget if this is set up differently than my home club. In this club, at least according to the agenda, I didn't change, our general evaluator, which happens to have shifted to Tracy Onion. Tracy, are you prepared to introduce the evaluator roles, or do you want me to do that for you?
I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, we'll do it like we do it in our home club, so it'll be more normal for you. Elena, you were our original evaluator. I'm going to give you a minute at the end to give your impression of our meeting so that you are able to fulfill a little bit of that general evaluator role. Our first evaluator today is Bob, who will be reporting on Maria's speech. Maria's speech was titled, "The Goals is in the Follow-Up." Bob, over to you.
Thank you, Maria. We're going to have a golden follow-up to your speech today with this evaluation. And all of the stuff in the chat is a golden follow-up for you. Aptly titled speech. You're a very accomplished speaker for somebody who says has never done this before. Come a long way. As you were speaking, I scrolled through the chat. And I looked, and I went all the way to the beginning. And there's one word that popped out at me. And if you ran Mentimeter on it, that word would be in like 64-point size. The word is welcome. And your speech, if I ran Mentimeter on your speech, that word would be in 64-point size. You use welcome in that speech. And that says an awful lot about this club. It's very, very welcoming. And so I think your speech was totally in line with what PR Masters is all about. It really resonates. The power of words. That one word, welcome, is a very powerful word. Simple word, but you repeated it and it made that the theme of your message. You think about public relations. Public relations is a noun. Nouns are kind of weak, but if you turn that into a verb, it becomes a lot more powerful. What do you get when you turn relations into a verb? It's relate. You relate to people. That's what public relations is about, relating with people. And that's what you pointed out in your speech, is how we relate. You invite them in, you welcome them, and then the follow-up to it is you appreciate them. Those are all verbs, strong, powerful words that resonated throughout your speech. So yeah, I mean, you absolutely nailed that theme there. I really appreciated that. Speaking of relations, in your speech, you related to the audience. In a number of places, you called people out by name, singled them out. Matt, you did this and da 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 da. You related to the audience. And that was kind of on the fly. I don't think you planned to do that. That's a skill of an advanced speaker, to take incidents in the speech and relate it into your speech and tie it in with what's going on. That was very, very well done. You had lots and lots of examples in your speech, lots of slides. The slides were very well done, but I think you kind of ran out of time at the end. Maybe too many slides. Maybe pick one or two stories. Stories are very powerful too. So one or two stories that go with each of those things to relate it to what you're saying. When you knocked it out of the park, you welcomed the audience into your speech, and your screen presence. One of the comments that in the last evaluation was screen presence. Screen presence was perfect. You did a very good job of filling that. I could see your gestures. You did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Love the use of the word welcome. Great word and a great quality that we all want in our meeting. Our next evaluator is Jennifer Schmidt, and she will be evaluating Marcy Field's speech, No Strings Attached, Social Networking.
Thank you, Maureen. No strings attached, social networking. Thank you, Marcy, for this topic. I loved your opening where you got close into the camera and you talked to us like a friend. Do you not like social networking and you're kind of hesitant, or do you really enjoy it? And you said you do both. That was a great way to start off your speech and pull the audience in. Your flow and structure were great. And you followed the philosophy of tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them again. And that's a great way to keep the audience engaged. You're going through, you're showing us where you're going from the beginning, and then you're taking us there, and then you're concluding. And that's what we need as an audience, so we know what to expect and what we'll learn. That was a great way to do that. You mentioned Maureen and Jill, which is, as Bob said, an advanced skill of a great Toastmaster about what they said prior to your speech. You did that on the fly. That was great. Another way to pull in the audience. And your analytics were a great insight. What I liked is you kind of pulled back the curtain and you showed us what you were seeing from your social networking, why it's important, what you're learning about what you're putting out there. And that was great too. You also mentioned you were a DTM, and that's very inspiring to us that are not. And also an opportunity for you to explain a little further of how your friends helped you on social networking. That would be a great insight for the audience if you could do that. If you want to enhance this speech a little more, what you could do is look more into the camera like you did at the beginning, because there were times you were looking away at your notes, it looked like, and that pulls the audience eye to where you're looking. And it's difficult because this is a tablet, there's a little box. I have to remember, look here, not over there, because people are all over the place. Also, if you're not saying something exactly the way you wanted to say it, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's coming from a perfectionist. So if you don't say it exactly right, it's okay, because we don't know what it's supposed to be. And you have so much detail and depth in there that we're getting that no matter how you phrase it. Great call to action. Love the picture at the end. Think it was wonderful. I'd love to see this at a future TLI. Thank you, Marcy.
Wow. Pull back the curtain. That's the definition of PR Masters. Like, how can we show those little tips and tricks that help each of us succeed and get better? So often it's those little things, those little improvements that make our posts better, that, oh, I could connect over here and that might bring a different guest into our meeting, or how do I keep my members? It's not always about outreach. Sometimes it's about inreach. And Matthew actually did a speech about that earlier this year. All our meetings are recorded, and earlier in the chat, it was asked, hey, how am I going to be able to watch this video? Well, as soon as our volunteers can process the videos, they get posted on our website, and we typically put out a post on our Facebook group as well. Tracy, as general evaluator, I'm going to ask you how your first experience of PR Masters has gone.
Wow, it was a great meeting, and I so appreciate being invited and attending. So with that, do you want me to go into my evaluation? Perfect. Okay, so thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And thank you everyone for allowing me to be the general evaluator today. And as a guest, and my home group is New Horizons, I enjoyed being here tonight. It's a very well-rounded and diverse group with people from all over the world, which is what makes Zoom so nice to be able to do this. Today's meeting started on time. There was great introductions. I love the chat where people put in where they were from. It gave us an idea of where around the globe and the world we are all attending this meeting from, and different time zones as well. Lots of guests, lots of members, and appreciate again that I could participate. Two speakers today that gave great presentations. Both were very well prepared. Their slideshows were easy to read and well developed in their presentations. We moved from there into the group feedback. Again, a little different than my home group, but I loved it. I loved the chat feedback. It was engaging and there was a lot of good information. So kudos for that piece of the meeting. The timer, thank you, Jill. You did a great job on timing with the lights behind you, the hand raised, so you stood out in the corner. That was perfect. That I'm sure that helped with the speakers as well. We moved into announcements. I love the announcements in the middle instead of at the end. It was very engaging. You gave some great announcements there, Matthew, and kept us engaged in what's going to be going on into the far future and near future of this weekend with the TLI that's coming up on Friday and Saturday. My most favorite part was the tips that were sprinkled throughout the meeting tonight. Those were such a, it was just, I just fell in love with them because they were just sprinkled all through it. Table topics, thank you, Bill. You did a great job, kept everyone on topic. And overall, the meeting was lively, energetic, full of energy, and it was a very exciting meeting. And I am so glad that I joined, and I thank all of you for attending. And that concludes my general evaluation.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you for volunteering on the fly. So one of the real values that we find in PR Masters, and a little backup for a moment too, is PR Masters was started by a bunch of VPPRs who thought they needed a place to go to get advice from each other. And lo and behold, Carissa had one of those terribly good ideas where we're like, what did we do? We developed a club. So here's a place to come every month to get tips and tricks, and you never know what you're going to walk away with. You're like, well, I could apply that this month. Like, huh, that's interesting. And it's a lively meeting and it's moving, but it only happens 12 times a year. But I feel pretty lucky that I've been Toastmaster more than once, and it's fun to be Toastmaster. But we do love having members too, and we practice skills. And one of those skills is the ask. The ask is we love having new members. So if you're at all interested in joining our club, please note that our agenda as well as the chat has all the information you need to join. Adam Doss happens to be our VP of membership, and numerous people check our email. But we love to have new members. And as we plan these 12 meetings a year, thinking about what would I want to present? What topic could I share? And planning ahead for that is really something that helps these things be even more valuable to folks that come to visit. And those who aren't members, they return. We have returning guests tonight, and we get so much value from them in our Facebook feed and other learnings. So even if you choose not to become a member, be part of our Facebook group. We're here to help and enjoy learning from each other. Elena, I know that you were late today, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to have a minute before that general evaluator role. Elena reached out to us and said, hey, can I come and do a role? And that doesn't happen very often. We do sometimes have guest speakers. So Elena, tell us about your experience coming to PR Masters today.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I should give kudos to Alan and Greg, who both mentioned PR Masters as a club that our District 4 should probably come and visit. So we spread the word among our VPPRs, and we're hoping that a number of us will come for a visit. I thoroughly enjoyed the meeting. I looked through the videos of past events, and I loved what I see. That the idea that there is a club that is dedicated to all things PR was fascinating to me. And I should say that I was not in any ways disappointed. It's hard to top Adam's evaluation. I think she was just spot on everything. She gave a great evaluation of the meeting. I really enjoyed the experience, and I would be recommending our vice presidents of public relations come and pay a visit as well.
Thank you, Elena. I'm now going to shift to our chat master, Adam. Adam is going to do one word round robin, popcorn style. Adam, would you explain this Joe Dudman developed segment?
Sure. Thanks, Maren. I have the privilege of, quote unquote, doing the last formal engagement session. And the reason I did it in quotes is we do have an informal parking lot conversation session post the meeting. But yeah, I want to get some quick thoughts from some of the folks in the meeting. What did you think of the meeting? What stood out? Let's keep it to like maybe a couple of words. I'm going to call upon people randomly. Let's see. We have not heard from Michael Rojas. You are muted if you're speaking. Okay, let's move on to Ashley.
Lots of new ideas.
Some new ideas. Patty, what did you think?
I think it was a lovely meeting. I got lots of good high energy vibe and lots of great ideas and lots of smiles. And even though it's 11:30 p.m. my time, I have been fully engaged the entire evening, and definitely will be able to do it again, even if I'm tired.
Awesome. East Coast. Let's see. Fred.
Adam, Michael's saying that he needs to be unmuted, and unfortunately, you're also the host. So see if you can unmute him, and then he'll be able to talk.
I am trying to do that. Try now, maybe, Michael? Interesting. Maybe,
Since you're only asking for a couple of words, perhaps you could put it in the chat.
yeah. How about that? Good idea. Okay, Fred.
Yes.
Couple of words to describe the meeting. What did you think?
Oh, I'm a member, so I wasn't expecting to be called on, but I like the opportunity of being the Dear PR Masters, and I got a lot of kudos for. I actually use it for table topics in one of my clubs, but kind of with a different twist. So I've kind of adopted the Dear PR Masters concept here into one of my clubs. So I really like that as well.
Cool, awesome. I think we do want to try to stick to our time slot as much as possible. So with that, lovely to get everyone's thoughts. Back to our Toastmaster, Maren.
Thank you, Adam. We are 1 minute over, and I'm going to hand this off to our president, Matthew. And over to you, Matthew. Thank you for coming, everyone.
This has been our June 2022 PR Masters meeting. Thank you to all of our members and guests for coming and making it informative, educational, spectacular, warm, welcoming, and wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and have the Zoom master stop the recording. This